Huh.
WB audio capture, not registered.
Maybe. Arg. Oh, did that? No. It was plugged in.
What if I told you
don't like this camera angle. Okay. Good morning. It's still morning. Let's see. Do I have autofocus on? I don't. Good. Is that focused very well? Ish. Looks okay. Today, we're gonna finish this thing, or I'm gonna bail on it. One of the two. Actually, let me see where we were. So it needs a USB-C. Do I have a USB-C coming out of here? I do not at the moment. So micro USB with a tip. That works. Okay. Wow, that light is really, this one, really in the shot. Yeah. Oh well. That's not going to change today. I want to move this so it's like over here. So when I look at my monitor, I'm looking kind of at the camera. Okay, so we've got some dim LEDs going over here, and they're moving slow. We got bright ones over here, and they're moving normal speed, but neither of them is fully lit. Plus, I have some keys that aren't working. So, I'm going to turn my soldering iron on first, and then I got my new soldering iron tip. Or I got a couple of them, but I got a couple of different sizes of it. So it's a knife tip. This is what Curtis was suggesting I use on this because it's easier or something. So we're gonna give it a try. And if that works, great. And if it doesn't, I'm not gonna blame the soldering iron. I'm gonna blame the solderer because the solderer is probably screwing something up or has burned out some chips or something. I've done a lot to this poor little board. Sorry, Pierre. But hopefully today we'll get it fixed and get it working. So first thing I want to do is I am going to... God, this thing is a mess. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reflow all of the LEDs and I'm going to replace that one because I think that one might be messed up. The weird thing is, or rather, the bummer of this is I've got, okay, I have a box full of various LEDs, but only one of those. And fortunately, I was able to find it very quickly. Otherwise, it might not have ended well. Because this one here looks like it may have gotten a little bit mangled by heat. One downside to this is since it runs I2C across the TRRS, I have to have both sides plugged in. So we've got two that work on this side. I'm just going to put a little dot of tape over those so I remember which ones they are. And then little dot of tape on the other side to remember which ones they are, because I'm not going to solder this while it's plugged in for obvious reasons. So it'll be easier for me to tell which ones I need to mess with and which ones I don't. And actually, before I do anything more, I'm going to check one thing. So I would like it so that this isn't a blinky pattern or anything like that. So it's just solid red LEDs on everything. But I have no idea what the key map is. So let's see. Okay, and it appears there aren't any on the default key map. So let's go ahead and build a new firmware. See what happens. So, oh, but see, then I need switches. And these are soldered switches, and I don't feel like tweezering. Let me just make. Okay. Keyboard settings. Bluetooth cycle? No, not Bluetooth. Backlight. RGB mode. Okay. Squirt a little flux here. Squirt a little flux there. A little here. There. Waiting for the potato to bake. Drink some of my coffee. Yeah, I'm running a little bit late this morning because over the weekend I worked the Hood to Coast race. So there's a foot race that goes from Mount Hood and goes all the way to Astoria, which is like 160 miles or 140 miles or something like that. And it's a relay race. So there are a bunch of exchange points along the way, and people come in and their runners hand off a baton, yada, yada, yada. Well, you can imagine this takes a little while because it's a long foot race. So the race runs for, I think, 24 or 36 hours, something like that, total. Like, the course is open. And I was working one of the later exchange points. I was at 22 out of like 35 or something like that. When I originally signed up, I thought it was Saturday night. And Friday about 8:15, I was like, I wanna just make sure. I'm gonna double check. And so I looked at my schedule on the website, and no, it's 10 o'clock to 5 a.m. Friday night. And I'm an hour and a half away. and I'm totally not packed at all. Like I had, because I was working it as a ham radio operator. So I needed my radios, I needed antennas, I needed power, I needed just everything. I mean, fortunately, most of it is just in a box that I can grab or kind of assemble things out of, but it was still quite a bit. And then, of course, I needed stuff for me because I'm going to be sitting out there for 8 hours or 7 hours in the cold, and didn't bring nearly enough cold. And anyways, long story short, I get out there. I wasn't that late. I was like 10:15 or something like that, and I mean, honestly, don't even understand why I was there. There was a ham and his wife, who was a ham as well, also there. And they were there the whole time. Like, the entire open to close. I don't get why they had a second ham. But I was there till 5 o'clock in the morning. Just freezing my ass off. So I got home at about 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and then I was like, yep, I'm not streaming today. I'm going to bed. And I basically slept until Sunday morning. I was up for a couple hours here and there, but mostly just slept the whole time. So now I'm kind of recovering from all of that. And this morning, it was nice out. And the cats cuddled with me, and I hadn't had my coffee yet, and I was like, I don't feel like getting up. So I laid in bed for a little while longer than I meant to. But that's okay, because hopefully now my sleep schedule will be mostly back on track, and yeah. Okay. Let's open QMK Toolbox. Find my reset button. Which doesn't work. I flashed this before. Oh. Oh. Helps. It works better when it's plugged in. There we go. Okay, flashing. Alright, so that's all done. LEDs are on over here, and this is where I mapped the RGB toggle to. There. Nope, that's not solid red. Is that solid red? That looks to be solid red. Okay. Great. So now I've got my testing thing. Hello, Linux Fish. Good morning. Okay. Do our little chiseling here. Okay. Nope. Same old, same old. Okay. I'm just gonna reflow everything. except for the controller and this, because the controller I'm probably gonna end up reflowing that anyways. But yeah, and then I'm pretty sure this is actually fine. So flux on there.
Soltarme unas barras y poco más, sin imaginar lo que podría pasar. Siempre sonrío con los ojos cerrados. Bebo batido en la escalera sentado. Hermano, ¿por qué andas preocupado? Pensando en las cosas que aún no te han pasado. ¿Qué pasó, mi pana? Estoy matando monstruos con las hawaianas, volando en posiciones raras, el peso de mi alma en una tana. Todo flexi con mi chica, dando vueltas pica pica. Estoy usando la varita, mientras todo dinamita.
So I think it might be actually okay if those two are bridged that way.
Todo dinamita, los sueños se derriten por aquí, es así. Veo la vida como Dalí, yo soy quien soy, yo no pienso huir, aunque tenga que subirme al ring. Aunque busques el significado del amor en Google, tú dime que me quieres, pero no lo jures. Yo sigo como Goku.
Hello, Lorenzo.
Regando las plantitas empezando el lunes. Mi vida es una jam, yo no trazo un plan. Lo que tenga que venir vendrá.
Let's see if I can clean this up a little better. This poor keyboard.
Solo pisas pasos de cebra. ¿A qué esperas? Abre una ventana nueva. Súbete al tejado, tumba las antenas. Respira bien hondo, puedes ser quien quieras. Escúchate por dentro a ver qué suena.
Oh, great, now that's bridged.
Es así. En el Honda con el Andy, o en la plaza con la Pandi. En el Honda con el Andy.
It's Spanish music? I can't hear it, so it's just whatever I was playing on Chill Hop. Oops. Is that the right URL? I'm surprised there are even lyrics. Chill Hop generally doesn't have lyrics. Friggin', fraggin'. I'm making even more of a mess out of this thing. These are all bridged. How do I get that? How do I undo that? It's just awful. And this one's to come off. This resistor. Okay. We're gonna bust out our old friend, the microscope. Oh. Okay. And then I want to see the big view of the microscope. There we go. Ugh, Jesus. This board is a disaster. It's just a mess down here. And like I said, I half suspect that it's okay that they're all bridged, but I just don't know. I happened there. That's what happened there. This is a revisit of a board I just totally screwed up on. And I'm trying to fix it. And not doing a wonderful job of it. I'm gonna try to get a bunch of solder off of here. Hello, Purse. Welcome. If anybody wants to know where that awesome art for the stream, like down below here and my profile pic and stuff comes from, yeah, blame Purse for all of that. She is the awesome person who made all those things. Yeah, good luck, thanks. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need the luck. Alright, I'm gonna try to suck some of the solder off of here. Come on. Okay. Let's see if this looks a little bit better. No, it's a disaster. It's a total wreck. You know what? I think this is going in the scrap heap. Honestly. It's too far gone. And I know, it's only been a half an hour that I've even been streaming, and I've already given up on the primary thing for the stream, but I think I'm gonna call it on that. The bling is going in the box. I'm gonna get another kit at some point, and do it proper. But I think I screwed it up too much. Because I mean, I screwed up it's just, yeah. It's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, I want to dig out the, like, the schematics to see where things can be connected or not or whatever, and just a bunch of stuff that I just don't have the energy for today. So, we'll move on to trying to fix another board. A faunchpad. Which I don't really need anymore because I have a paintbrush now. But, it's one of those things, like, I would really like to fix it if I can. Sorry for the view of my armpit. So the problem with the faunchpad is that you plug it in and it doesn't do anything. Like nothing at all. None of the keys do anything. I can't reset it and get it into programming mode or anything like that. It does bupkis. And I'm not sure why. But what I'm going to do on this is I'm just going to reflow the whole controller because I think everything else is probably fine. And all else fails, I might take the crystal off and try to resolder that, because there maybe is something under it that's bridged or something. But I'm gonna reflow all of this on the sides here. Whoa! Party foul. I'm gonna clean up my spilled coffee. Oh wait, I don't need the microscope for it. Nah, please by all means conduct business in my stream chat. That can maybe drive some traffic to the stream chat. It's like the only way to get artwork done by Purse is to come into my stream chat and talk to her there. So I suspect the problem on this is it's just all bridged together. Because I did this with solder paste. And not a hot air gun. So we shall see. Just gonna try to clean everything up a little bit. And actually, I do want the microscope back. Okay, that looks good. It looks like there are a bunch of bridges, but they're not. That's just flux. It's just really hard to dial this thing in to make it so it's clear. But you can see that's all just flux in between those. Okay. Super serious synergy. Well, it's less about synergy and more about just Purse driving traffic to my stream. Which I guess is probably the definition of synergy, but, you know, I didn't go to business school. Hey, that works. Come on. There we go. Now I think we're bridge free on that side. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Well, it was going to be repairing the Ferris, but I gave up on that rather quickly. So now I don't know what it's going to be. But I've had this. I've got the iron heated up. The desk is all in the right position and everything. So I think we're going to try that. This board doesn't need to be repaired. Works fine. So it's just a comparison because I was going to use this for artsy, but I have an artsy board now. The paintbrush. The music stops. Oh, it probably hit the end of the song. It did. See, for some reason, I can't hear the music on my headphones, so I'm not wearing them. So, let's go here. Do some mixes. Oh, okay. If there's something you would like to see, Lorenzo, I am open to suggestions. Because, honestly, I was having a hard time figuring out what to stream. So... Where's my... With microscope, there. Okay, so... No bridges. Okay, now we just have this one more side. Or did I already do that side? I don't think I did that side. We're gonna do it anyways. Oh, collection tour. That is a fantastic idea. Let me finish soldering this up here real quick, and I will bust out the box. I think I've got a bridge in the middle there. Whoop. Why is my light off? Oh yeah, big bridge. Just the one though, okay. Okay. Let's plug this in, see if that works. Nothing. And nothing. Okay, well, another one for the box. Great. So, let's change up a little bit again. We're pivoting a bunch today. Let me change the text. Collection tour. All right. Don't need that. And I'm going to change the title over here. Collection tour. Okay, so because the first part of my collection is actually upstairs, I'm gonna go get that because that is very relevant, those keyboards. So I'll be right back in a few minutes. Okay. Get a little more coffee. So, where to begin? About 2010, I was working with somebody who was using a type matrix or something. No. I was a big user of Gen 2 Linux back in the day. I used to run the FNet Gen 2 IRC channel, and there was an unofficial Gen 2 wiki and a unofficial package index that was run by one of the other ops in that channel called SJ7 Trunks. I think it was Trunks. Somebody. And he used a Type Matrix 2020 and got me thinking about keyboards. And Dvorak is always something I'd heard about and wanted to try. So, one day in 2010, I bought a Type Matrix 2030. This is a rubber dome chiclet keycap thing. I loved this keyboard. They touted it as ergonomic because of the ortholinear. This was back before I even knew what ortholinear was. It may not even have been coined as a term yet. I don't know. This is a long time ago. But the thing that always got me is like what enter and delete or in backspace are in the middle. And the idea with that is like this one of your strongest fingers is hitting that. So I bought one of these. This is not the first one I bought. This is like 5. There's the problems with these I'll get into in a minute. But I wanted to try Dvorak at the same time. So I was like, you know what? I'll do both. Because I can get this with Dvorak Legends. And it even has a hardware Dvorak switch. So if your computer or if your operating system doesn't support Dvorak, you can just hit this. And now it's sending Dvorak codes. I loved this keyboard. I still love this keyboard. I would use it still today if it wasn't for one fatal flaw. And I do mean fatal flaw. You notice I like to drink a little bit of coffee or tea or water or whatever. I have liquids around my keyboards. This thing is a dual membrane contact thing, and the membranes are separated by just a little bit, and the rubber pushes down and makes contact. Well, if you've ever... Well, okay, water wicks, or capillary action, or whatever. Capillary, whatever. Water wicks. So a little bit of liquid gets into this board and just goes through the whole thing and just fucks it. It's just totally toast. 3 of these boards that I've had were ruined by that. One of them within an hour of me replacing or using... So I bought one to replace one that I ruined with tea. And within an hour of opening it and setting it up, I ruined that one with tea. Not even kidding. And, you know, yeah, well, it's a keyboard. Take it apart and clean it. Well, okay, take it apart. You got to pull all these little nubs off of here. You've got to do all this. It's plastic riveted, so you're breaking all that. It's really, to open this thing up to fix it is to destroy it. I tried it once. Because I was like, because this is like a $120 keyboard. And it saddens me. I sent them a what felt like a 20-page email, but this long email about I really love your keyboard, but holy shit, it's impossible because of the liquid problem. And they're like, oh, well, we sell these rubber things you can put over the top of them, and they do. And I bought one of them with the first one, and they're terrible. It made me really, really sad when I stopped using this. And I went back to just a regular Apple Magic keyboard thing. You know, one of these, but older. Because this is the new one with the Touch ID sensor. So this is what got started on ergonomic keyboards. Well, not even ergonomic keyboards. It goes even back further than that. When I was in college... In 2000, I had a Microsoft Natural Keyboard Pro, which was the one with the little bulge in the middle, and it was separated and stuff. It was awesome. I loved it. And I went through a bunch of those when I was at DreamHost when I finally switched over to this. But those they were rubber domes. I typed on them so much they wore out really quickly, and they just weren't great. Plus, someone showed me this, and I was like, "Ooh, that looks cool. I'm gonna try that." So this is what led me down the path. When I sent the email to Type Matrix and I was like, "Hey, you know, I really love your keyboard. Please, please, please fix it so it doesn't break so easily." I was like, I really want a mechanical version of this, and I could never find one because, like, to me, I needed these bracket keys, and I needed the numbers, and I needed all of this extra stuff. But I couldn't find anything like this in the mechanical space. The closest I could find was like a plank, or I don't even remember. Like, it was just because I wasn't even searching for ortholinear at the time. I think I was looking for matrix layout or something like that. So that's the story behind this board. So then in 2015, I moved to Portland. Yeah, 2014, I moved to Portland, and 2015, I think it was Drop, or at the time it was Mass Drop. They had a drop for an Ergodox. And this was the first soldering I'd done since high school. So it was 17 years later or something like that. And all surface mount components. I think it had a Teensy or something like that. This was before the Ergodox Infinity, because the Infinity has like PCBA, I think. But this was before that. This was all hand soldered stuff. I don't have that board anymore because I used it for a little bit. There wasn't even a good default key map. You were completely left to your own. I couldn't figure out where one of the bracket keys and stuff. I just couldn't. It was too big. It just didn't end up liking it. And I sold it to a friend for about a third of what I paid for it. But I kept all the equipment. So I've got my soldering station. I've got a bunch of other stuff that I bought to build that keyboard that I still have and use today, which is really nice because it's at least that part of the investment has paid for itself. But the board itself, I took a huge loss on because I was just like, at one point, I was just like, I'm getting rid of it. Someone said they were looking for one. I said, hey, I'll sell you mine. Whatever. Fast forward. I've been using Mac keyboards, you know, stuff like these for a long time. And I was just like, kind of getting tired of it. I was at work and a friend had a Keyboardio Model 01, the big kind of Ergodox looking thing with the big thumb pad buttons and stuff like that. And I was envious. I was like, you know, gotta have that mechanical keyboard. So, oh, and I don't have the other one. So Squarespace, which is where I was working at the time, they had a budget for like, oh, you want a keyboard? We'll buy you a keyboard. So I had them buy me like I want to say it was a Varmillo 75% or something like that. And I liked it, but it still wasn't quite what I was looking for. I would use it at work. It was fine. But it wasn't what I was after. I wanted that ortholinear split, whatever kind of thing. So one day I decided, one day I was just looking around and I'm like, well, I know that like for these smaller keyboards, because all I could find were small keyboards with ortholinear or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I've just got to bite the bullet and learn to love layers. So I bought this. This is a Plank Easy. And I rearranged the keycaps so it's Dvorak. But this is kind of the beginning of my like modern obsession with mechanical keyboards, because I built the Ergodox, but when I say the first keyboard I built it was something else, like, because I'm not counting the Ergodox because it was too far back. But this board, I bought it and I immediately fell in love. I learned to love the layers, you know, like it took me a while to get used to where things were, but like the comfort, everything, the lightness, the small, you know, this is still using the stock key map. I haven't changed anything about this other than rearranging the caps, and I made my own homing keys. So this is actually clear nail polish on the U and H keys on the homing keys here. But I used this keyboard for a couple months, I want to say. Loved it. And I was like, oh, but you know what would be really great is if it had the center buttons, the enter and stuff, and if it were split. So I went looking around, and I wanted wireless. I wanted wireless. So I went looking around, and I found this thing. So this is a Redox wireless. It's kind of like an Ergodox, but it's a little smaller, a little more shrunk up. It comes with built-in tenting. It's in a really fancy case, made by Falbatech. Falbatech, if you come across them, they're legit. Like, they're really cool people. Good support, stuff like that. It's wireless, so it uses a little dongle that you attach via micro USB, and it does that. One downside to that is it's not encrypted. So in theory, you can just sniff someone's typing over the air, which is a problem. But ended up not being a huge problem because this took like 2 months to get. Because between ordering it and then he had to build it and then shipping from Poland and all that stuff, it took like 2 months to get. Meanwhile, I'm still going on and messing around with stuff. So this keyboard got used for about 3 days and hasn't been used since, because I built this, my pinky. So this is very much kind of what I was looking for. I wanted middle, enter, whatever, because I still, you know, I wasn't using thumbs yet. I still wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna put enter on the thumbs. But I ended up putting enter on the thumbs here. And I used this for brackets, and I changed things up a little bit, and I really loved this keyboard. I finished, like, I ordered it and I got everything before the Redox arrived, but I didn't finish building it until a couple days after because I was missing a controller, or I was missing some part that I had forgotten. Maybe half of my keycaps, I don't remember. But I was missing something, and this was really, like, I kind of consider my first board, besides the plank, because I always forget about the plank for some reason, but this is the first build. This is the first one that I built myself, put it together, and used the shit out of. And I loved it, and it's still fantastic. Like, I got custom stickers made up because, you know, at the time I was like, oh, I've got to have a sticker for every board I build, and so it's you know, pink with this got a lot of mileage out of this, and it's still a pretty unique board in the sense that it's got chalk switches on the thumbs and MX switches on the top, and I don't remember what switches these are. I think they're probably browns, like kale browns maybe. But this is very early, I didn't know what I was doing, kind of stuff. But I was very happy with the results. Yeah, but this one, it's a little weird because the USB-C ports are on the end here, because the controllers are down here. But I love this board. This has a lot of good memories for me. Then I got into some macro pads and a meme board, or at least I kind of consider this a meme board. It's basically just a plank. Whoops, let me scoot things over. It's basically just a plank, but with tiny little buttons. But I love the exposed components. This is totally not typable. I've tried. Like, it's just not. I thought it'd be kind of cool for, like, oh, I can sit on my couch and, like, thumb type with it or something. No, not at all. But that's fine. It's fun, and it was actually a surprisingly difficult build because trying to keep the switches level, like, they're all out of whack. Like, this is not a flat surface. But this is my Zima macro pad from Split KB. This is a BDN9. This is a Romac Plus. Various switches and stuff on these. I think the Romac Plus, I have it such that... Wow, I have an actual... Wait, didn't I socket this? No, I socketed something. Well, I socketed the controller on this, and I think it's an Elite C. But this has... Where is my Maggie cable? This has the Squarespace logo on the OLED. That was me trying to mess around with it, because I built this on stream at work for a Hack Week project, just to play around. What I wanted to do was like get a bunch of macro pads and send them out to people, and we have like a let's build thing where we all building it at the same time, like a, you know, building it all on stream or something like that. But I ended up not having time to do that, so I just got this. But I thought, you know, put the Squarespace logo on there. Why not? So that was kind of the next phase, maybe. And then I found the Ginny. So many keyboards. Okay, well, I'm not gonna bust out the other half of Ginny. The Ginny is basically two of these, and it is a 10 key keyboard, which uses the Setniop layout, which is kind of cool. I played around with it for a while. I'm really slow at it, and I think if I'm gonna do anything like that, I'm going to figure out Artsy, because at least it's all one hand. But you know, it was fun. I didn't build this. This was actually built by Germ, because I thought it was going to be really quick and easy, and it took a long time, and then it took like, you know, once it was in the mail, of course, for some reason, Germ sending you stuff always takes like a month once it's in the mail. I don't get it. Like, I've gotten other stuff from Canada in a matter of days, but from Germ it takes forever. So who knows? Yep, it's got integrated controller. Well, this is actually just a port extender or whatever, IO extender thing. Okay, so there's more. There's much more. I'm trying to figure out kind of like a timeline. I have a timeline of like the daily driver boards that I've done. So that's kind of what I'm going on. And hopefully the rest of these things, like the upstairs stuff was easy because that all stuff was going into the museum as I was building it and replacing it. But then I ran out of space, and so now it's just all kind of in a box. But I tried to do it in some sort of order. So the next thing I built was a Kyria. This isn't the one I built, because the one I built, the first one was a plate case Kyria. Didn't have tenting or anything like that. What else about it? So it was plate case. And then I built the second one because I was going to do some like development stuff. I don't remember exactly. But then I screwed up the LEDs on that, which I still have that board, and I still might fix that LED one day. But I ripped all 4 pads off of LED 1 on the right hand, so it just doesn't work. This is the special tinting plate case. Oh, that's right. So the first Kyria I built, it was a plate Kyria, or a plate case, and it was, I used Milmax sockets. But I would type on it, and the keys would pop out all the time because there's a 3mm acrylic plate holding onto the switches, and the mil-max sockets that just don't. It's not a good combination. For whatever reason, the MX, the Kale MX sockets and a 3mm acrylic plate seem to work fine because that's what's on the Pinky, and I never had any problems with switches popping out. Oh, sorry, now I'm catching up on things. I built the second one. That was also, but I didn't end up finishing that. It's just PCBs because I screwed up the LEDs. But I actually used that for a couple of days with Cherry MX Red switches because I bought a bunch of them as just to try them out. And I was like, wow, actually I kind of like these. And so I was just using it bare PCB on my desk without the LEDs working, but everything else works fine. And then I built this one. This is soldered on. These are Glorious Pandas. This is Susuwatari caps. And this is the high profile tenting case, which is like a secret menu option at Split KB. I don't know if he's still doing that because apparently this takes more than one sheet of acrylic to make because of the extra bumps and stuff like that. But at the time he was still doing it. So maybe I have one of the few. But this was my daily driver for a long time. I use it tented like this. It lights up and glows and all of that fun stuff. Then the next thing I built was the next daily driver, I should say. Was my MX corn. So when I first built this, I had boba gums in it because I wanted to try the boba gums because I'd heard good things. And I immediately fell in love with the whole thing. Like it's smaller, especially coming from the Kyria with the big high profile case. I mean, look at the size comparison there. It's just ridiculous. I liked the look of the FR4 plate case. Everything, I just loved it. Very comfortable to type on. This is the DevTTY MT3 caps. I used to have my fidget spinner over here, but that has since moved to my Cornelius. I used to have Bongo Cat here, but that has also since moved to my Cornelius. And I have my Mustachio keycap. This thing is like solid brass. It's pretty heavy. Right now I have Xylence on it. I think there might be Aqua Xylence, but haven't used it in a while. But it's still very comfortable, a very nice keyboard. This was my first corn of many and kind of started my love affair with the corn. Still to this day one of my favorite keyboards. And for tenting, I just put some bumpers on it and like tried to make it so anytime I noticed like, oh, if I push here, it's gonna tip, like as I was typing, because I would do this and it would tip a lot, but then I put that back there and it mitigated it a lot. So yeah, that's this corn. Yes, the Corby. It's not a Kirby, it's a Corby. But this is also, these are both from Tiny Makes Things. This one was she made it for like an artisan with another keycap set or something like that, and then this was just, she makes these from time to time, but this was actually a fulfillment order if you're on her Patreon and yada yada yada. So I got lucky and got that, because otherwise her caps are almost as hard to come by as Bongo Cats. So the next thing I made was low profile wireless chalk, or wireless corn. So I don't remember, I don't think this was these are the original switches that were in here. This is definitely not the original case. because originally when I built this keyboard, I didn't have a case for it. I had those tenting bumpers with the big fat tall bumpers just on the bare PCBs, and it was tinted, just bare PCBs tinted. But this was my first build with nice nanos. I wired up a little power switch down here so you can turn them on and off. The battery is stuffed under the controller. The controller is face up, so it's nice and flat, and the wiring is done underneath the board. It's very, except for like the hot glue mess that's under the bottom of this, it's actually a pretty clean board. And then eventually I bought a Korn LP case for it. So this is from Board Source, the case. It's just a chunk of aluminum and a plate. It works really nicely. And I didn't realize I had a brass screw here when they're all black. It's fine. Yeah, this was my first wireless board that I used, and it's great. I used this keyboard for months, I'd say. Roomba bumpers, is that what you call them? Yeah, so this is my chalk corn, my first one. And then we get into kind of the era of chalk, or of corns. So I have, let's see, many corns. This is a chalk V2 corn. So the Korn Light PCB has support for chalk V2. It's soldered on. There's no LEDs or anything. It does support OLEDs, but I didn't bother. This was my first attempt with chalk V2 switches, and I really like this board. The chalk V2 browns are pretty decent. I used this for a long time. It's really lightweight. It's really pretty thin, and it has a nice feel to it. I just like it. This is one of my favorite keyboards that I have. Row of corns. Well, I did grow up in Iowa, so I am a bit of a corn farmer. So if I tell you I have 5 corns, a Cornelius, and a Cornish Zen on the way, yeah. So chalk V2 corn, good stuff. I like it. Trying to remember what my next daily driver was, and I think it was the Revion. But before I get to the Revion, I want to finish up with the corns, because I've got a chalk mini corn, and astute viewers, you might notice that these are colored chalk or colored MBK caps, and they're kind of shitty. These are caps from the Band of Rejects sale from MK Ultra, so these are all like not even B stock. These are total straight up rejects. Like there's scratches on them, it's just a mess. And I think it's really fitting with this board because I really hate this board. I don't know if I got a bad batch, if I need to take them apart and lube them, if I'm just using them wrong or what, but these things type like crap. So these are the chalk mini browns. They're like the lowest profile switches that I have, but they bind like crazy. I can't, like, you got to push on it right in the middle or it just binds, and it just drives me nuts. Like to try to type on it's awful. So despite like building it and trying it a little bit, I've never really used this because I just hate typing on it. But I still have it, and it was a fun experiment. But I think there's a reason why chalk minis are not more of a thing, because they suck. So that's another corn. So if you're counting, that's 4. Yeah, that's 4 now. And then I'll go ahead and finish off. So I built one more corn. This time I wanted a chalk corn similar to my MX corn with all the bells and whistles. So this has backlighting, this has underglow, this has OLEDs, this has all the fun stuff. It's funny because this is a bit of a, well, both this and these two boards are both kind of break-in boards, because this is a V2 chalk PCB, so it's got a breakable 6th column, and it has it is a reversible board, which is important because to use the Nice Nano flipped like that, you have to use the other side of the board's column of controller pins. But this is the Corn LP case. So the Corn LP is a thing from Board Source that it's they came out with the V3 version of the chalk PCB that has the SK6812 Mini E's, the better LEDs, but also it's not reversible, doesn't have a snappable 6th column, that sort of thing. And that's what it's supposed to go in this board, or in this case, but that's not what's in this case. That's the V2 PCB. But the V3 PCB is in this because I wanted the better LEDs. But this is actually the MX plate case, which is one of the reasons why it's so tall on here, because it's got spacing, it's got spacers for MX. Like, I could make this a lot shorter by just having the length of those standoffs. But I wanted a plate case. Oh, and also extra fun. So this blue PC, or this blue switch plate is actually the LP switch plate with the V3 board in an MX case. It's all sorts of fun. But this has MBK glows, so the backlighting actually works. I built this a couple weeks ago on stream, and then swapped out the caps. So this is a really nice board too, very comfy. I haven't used it really because I didn't build it to be a daily driver. I built it because I wanted parity. I wanted the MX and the chalk fully spec'd out board. Yeah, I gave up on chalk mini switches is really what it came down to. If a chalk mini variant of the Revion comes out, I will build it, because Revion and chalks and corns are basically my boards now, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get them. So then we go into the Revion era. And I've got my MX Revion. This is not the original build because I put the GTMX switches in here, which are they're like the mid-profile MX switches from, they're not from Gazoo, but they're like the pre-Gazoo version. It's whatever. They're Gazoo switches, but they're not capital G Gazoo, if that makes sense. They're not like official Gazoo branded. These are supposed to be tactiles. And they are very tactile. They feel really nice, but they're loud as hell and not consistently loud. But the reason I haven't swapped these back out is because also the way these switches went in, they're really tight in the plate and stuff like that. I've decided this is its final form. I may change the caps, but I probably won't, but this will never have different switches in it because I don't feel like pulling all those damn things out. But it's a Revion 41, also from Board Source. It's got some LED underglow, and it has one LED right here, which looks really cool in that little grid that it has. But this was my daily driver for a long time, and I really thought this might end up being my, end game board. Very comfortable. It's got the right number of keys. I've since gone smaller even, but at the time, because I had to enter and I had these and stuff. It was just really nice. I love this board. This was also the first board I used Boba U4s in. And the Boba U4s are just amazing switches. Like, just really great switches. So, I used the crap out of this thing. This was my daily driver for a while. And I just realized I have one more Reviung that is not down here. So I'm gonna have to go get it. So, wow, this is really discolored. So, this is my chalk Reviung 41. Trying to remember who made this. Well, anyways, I don't remember who made it, but it's a chalk-spaced Reviung 41 with chalk switches. These are the I don't know if they're still what he's using or what he's printing, but these are kind of a prototype of the Yeet or maybe Chicago Steno, or I don't remember, keycaps from Shawgut in the yeah, they are Shawgut caps in the Absalom Club server. But this is nice nano, and one of the things that I really love about this board is the guy who designed it, or who, you know, ported it to chalk, took my feedback and was like, okay, really would love to have a place to, like, first class support for wireless, basically. So a power switch, or pads for a power switch, and pads for battery contact. So despite this not being a flipped controller, although a later version of a different one it is, but we'll get to that in a second, it has a power switch right here, and it has pads right down here for the battery. Now, I don't know exactly why, but he also made this support per key LED, but not like RGBs, like just a straight up LED. So it's a little different, just like a single, you know, just a whatever color LED you want to put in there. Since I'm using this as wireless, I didn't do that. But this was also my daily driver for a good while. I had originally MBK caps on here, and then Shawgut sent me these, and so I put these on here and used that until I switched to a different board. And now I don't even remember what that board was. Oh no, I know what that board was. I know what that board was, and that's upstairs too. So many keyboards. I'll be right back. And I'm missing one. That makes me really sad. I don't know where it is, and I'm not going to go digging for it right now. So, after the chalk Revion... Whoops, why does that keep coming up? So after the chalk Revion, I went to the Zaphod. So the Zaphod, this is a kind of a beta test version. The Zaphod is in group buy right now. Go buy it, and if you get assembly service, you will watch me build your keyboard for you on stream. End plug. This is the Zaphod. It's by Pete Johansson, the creator, their main creator, not the only contributor, but the main guy behind ZMK. Obviously, it runs ZMK. It's Bluetooth, yada yada yada. It's awesome. It's a 34 key keyboard. This is a sharp memory display, so it's kind of like e-ink in that it uses very little power to keep the display active, but it's not like e-ink in the sense, or in the fact that if you take power away, it blanks. But it's awesome, and this is like one thing I've been trying to work on, which if you've been following the stream lately, you've seen me flailing at, is to get a little touchpad, little Circ trackpad that I can drop in here and use with this. I think it'd be cool. It keeps going X and back because it's trying to connect to my iPad, which is upstairs. So I'm going to change the profile. What else? Yeah. So these caps were on Revion before I got the Zaphod, or before I got the Shoggoth caps, and then I put them on this. So this is still my daily driver for my iPad. And up until last week or a week before, it was my daily driver, period. But for desktop operations and stuff like that, we've got the tank, the Cornelius. So lots of low profile keyboards, and circled back around to a giant, chunky, 6-pound, high profile MX beast. Got my fidget spinner cap, I've got my bongo cat, got Boba U4s on here. We got my MBK, or not MBK, but MT3 extended 2048 caps. All that beautiful stuff. This is my daily driver for when I'm at my desk, which actually has been a lot lately because I like using this board so much that I use it, that I come down here just to basically just to type. Not to like monkey type, but I screw around in Discord or whatever. So that's my kind of like progression of daily drivers. See, what I would do instead is put the I want the trackpad here because I feel like that's more comfortable here for me. Maybe, I don't know, but put the screen over the Holy IoT and get a big trackpad for here. I have a big trackpad, but it's off to the side of my desk somewhere. I'd have to dig it out. Yeah. Let's see. So one board that I have that I didn't show, as I said I couldn't find it, was my Ahokore. And that makes me really sad because I love that board. And I want to showcase it. But I can't find it. So, oh well. So other boards I have, this is a Chalk V2 Revion. This is, you can see the Nice Nano is now flipped. There's still a power switch under here. The reset switch is in a different place than it was before. In order to use this, I need to do some mods to some of the caps because, as you notice, maybe, this one in particular kind of sticks down. There's no plate for this. I built this plateless, but it's, the Chalk V2 switches, the caps will get caught on the switch body. And really, you just need to go in there with like a deburring tool and just kind of smooth it out underneath. These also aren't particularly high quality caps. They're KBD fans, cheapy things. I love KBD fans caps, don't get me wrong, but they're not like, you know, they're $40 for a full set instead of like $300 for a full set or something. So, recommendations for places to buy keycaps. If you don't care about much of anything, KBD Fans has tons of caps in stock. They have tons of caps and tons of different profiles. I just get their XDA or NP caps. NP caps are basically XDA, but I think they're a little bit wider on top or something. These are NP caps, I think. Unless you put them side by side, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you which one's which. But they're uniform profile, and I like that because I like filler caps, right? And oftentimes on the cheaper keycap sets, they have coverage for like a 75%, but then you don't have a lot of one use that you need for like an ortho layout, which has a bunch of one use. Or your thumbs are, you know, all like 1.5 or something like that. So I stick with just their XDA NPs. Who is it? Signature Plastics has their store, their iRolly Pimp My Keyboard, or I think it's Pimp My Keyboard. They have a bunch of different caps there. I've ordered some stuff from there, but KBD Fans seems to work better. I don't know. I'm really picky about keycaps because I prefer, if I'm going to spend good money on keycaps, I want either completely incomprehensible caps like this that don't have any real meaning, or is my phone ringing? It is. Okay. Completely incomprehensible legends, or I want them to have Kolovrak or at least Dvorak legends, and very few sets have that. Like the fact that the extended 2048 does was great, but I had to buy another cap set or another set just for coverage of that. So I like KBD Fans myself, but that's just me. This board doesn't particularly work yet, and I'm not sure, because I know that with the, so let me get out my entirety of my Reviung army. So I have 4 Reviungs actually. This one is a Pro Micro which runs QMK. This is like an official Reviung. So is this, except this is using a nice Nano. And I don't remember if I ever figured out if I ever got my key map and stuff ported over to this and got it working. This is a slightly different matrix layout, so it's not directly compatible with this, which is why I can't just like plop this firmware onto here. And then I think this one might be even different than both of these other ones. So like I have a firmware on here, but it doesn't work right. And I don't know if it's a physical problem with with my soldering job or something, which I doubt, or if it's a firmware thing and I haven't bothered to figure it out because I don't use these boards right now. Although most of the motivation for why I have so many keyboards and why I have a lot of like low profile boards and stuff is I'm constantly looking out for, or constantly trying to find my board that is going to go in my backpack with me around the world. And this is a very strong contender for that. If I were to actually do that, what I would do now is I would probably break off the outer columns, but change very little else about this board. Maybe get rid of this middle thumb and tighten these up a little bit so it's more like a traditional 34 layout like I'm using with the Zaphod and stuff. Yeah, I've got magnetic connectors on basically all of my keyboards. Which is kind of frustrating because they're hard to come by now. I don't know why, but they just like, they make small batches of them and sell them on Amazon, and they sell out immediately, and so they come and go. But I've got mostly magnetic connectors on my keyboards. It just makes it easier. But the only Revyoung so one thing, this Revyoung, so this is an MX Revyoung, full plate case and everything. This is the same exact keyboard without a plate, without a case, and I wanted to try an MX build hot swap with no plate to see if it works, and it doesn't. I mean, it works, obviously, you can type and stuff like that, but the caps are really loose, or the switches are really loose, they come out. This really needs a plate for it to work. So I'm thinking about getting like a carbon fiber or printing a plate or something like that. Haven't gotten around to it because I really think despite everything that either full-size MX switches with like the Boba U4s because they're so good, or Chalk V2 Browns are probably going to be what ends up in my pack. So I was trying to make this into, you know, can I use this? Can I put this in my pack? And stuff like that. Anyways, so that's the Revyoung army. I don't have a YA36. I do have more boards. There's still more to come. So I got this board here, which isn't obviously really a board, it's a macro pad, but it's got a rotary encoder and 3 buttons. And the idea with this is you stick it to the underside of your monitor and you've got like media controls or something like that. One of these days, I'm going to actually figure out what I need to do with OBS and turn this into a controller for OBS. I wanted to make this like a focus knob, but then I switched to the iPhone as a camera, and I don't think I can control that remotely through OBS or through the USB. I'm not really sure. But like this would be like changing scenes, because oftentimes I'm like screwing around like, okay, let me change scenes or whatever. It'd be nice to like have this toggle, like rotate between scenes, and one of them like, oh, that turns the microscope on or turns Safari on or something like that. Kind of play around with that. But it's a 3D printed case, runs a little Pro Micro. It's pretty straightforward. It's neat. I accidentally bought 2 of them. Well, I mean, I could get a Stream Deck too, but it's like, why get a Stream Deck if I can build my own keyboard? Then I have this, which is one of the most recent additions to my collection. This is, I love meme keyboards. Like, the memeier the better, and this is about as meme as you can get. So this is a keyboard that's shaped like Texas, and it has the Texas flag colors, and including the star, and it's just so deliciously awesome. I love it. And I put extra loud box jades in it. It's just fun. It's the memeest keyboard in the West. I built this on stream a couple weeks ago. The Yeehaw, yes. What else? So I've got Pancake. Oops, didn't mean to drop it. I've got a Himiko. So most of my keyboards are 3x5, 3x6. This is, I have a number of keyboards that I built that are, or ordered, because I still have a couple that I haven't built, that have number rows. And I got the number rows because I'm trying to get a friend of mine into a nicer keyboard. and she really wants a number row. So I was like, okay, well, I will build a bunch of keyboards with number rows, and then you can try them all on. And then she just hasn't liked it. So she actually has my 75%. And that's probably what she's going to end up using, or did not. I don't know. So I have the Kimiko, which is just a cool, big... I don't remember what I liked about it. There was something. I think it has Matrix RGB. Yes. I think that's why I liked it. I've got boba gums on this right now. They're really comfy. This is a pancake. It's just a plank-like keyboard, but it's got a pancake on the back. And if you look in real close in here, got a recipe for pancakes. Yeah, on the Kimiko, I think that might be why I liked it. One reason, I don't know. This was also in the days of me like literally buying every keyboard I could find that I didn't already have for stream content. So I've got several keyboards still from that period that I haven't built yet. Like I have a Sofli and a Lily 58 at the very least. I should build the Sofli because I think I have a really nice case for it, and I just haven't built it. Then I also have the Keymote control. So this is actually an infrared keyboard, or infrared remote control. They're your infrared transmitters with mechanical switches. It doesn't even run QMK, I don't think, and it's battery powered. It's got this huge. It's ridiculous. I thought it was funny. This is kind of a meme keyboard, but it's programmable. Like it even has a transistor on the back, so you can teach it codes. So you don't have to even like know. Like you teach it the remote codes like you would any other remote control. But it's kind of a joke, I guess. I put my G-Chocks in here because I can't use them, but it needed some switches for this. Want to see both of them built. All right. Well, maybe I'll build them this week. Let's see, what else? I've got the Elephant 42, which is basically a corn if you took one of the pinky keys and moved it to a thumb and made it kind of weird and broke one of the switches off. So this one I actually just straight up forgot to buy a case for, so that's why I don't have a case. But it has OLEDs and it has perky RGB and it's got underglow and stuff. It's it's a pretty neat keyboard. It's pretty cool. I wish I had a case for it. I might order a case, but the company that makes this is based out of Hong Kong or China or something, and so shipping takes a long time. So I just haven't bothered. And I didn't have enough caps to put it on this, so it doesn't have caps. And then one of my favorite boards is the Fisher by Critis. So this has built-in tenting and also offset thumbs. So the thumbs are on a different plane than the rest of the keyboard. And I just think that is clever as hell. I think he built this with steno in mind or something. Oh, and also like the pinky stagger is just ridiculous. Like my fingers are here, but that's actually the wrong pinky key. It should be down here. So I can't actually use this keyboard because it's just too bizarre. It wouldn't work for me, but I love the concept behind it, that the thumbs are offset. Oh, this key? You mean the dick butt key? I didn't get that. I made it. This is actually one of the lesser good samples I have of this, but I have a dye sublimation printer, and I did some I was dabbling with dye sub printing for a little bit, so I made a couple of dick butt keycaps because one of my best friend who died of cancer a couple months ago, huge fan of dick butt. So I was like, I have to make him a dick butt keycap, so I did. So, and his widow still has it. It's in a little artisan display case thing. It's really cool. I think what made me stop with it is I never fell in love with it. I never got obsessed with it. I never had great success with it. I think I know what I did wrong on a couple of things. So at some point I may try to revisit it. And in fact, it would probably make a good stream one day to just screw around with it. I just never really got back to it. Someday, maybe I'll do that soon. Who knows? More dick butts. Well, I have one that's the split KB logo that I actually need to send to Thomas at some point. Sending a single keycap to the Netherlands just seems so wrong, and I don't have anything else to send to him. So been kind of like, oh, I'll send you something when I have something to send, and I haven't had anything to send. And yeah, so I've got the Ahokore that I didn't show. I've got a couple of, well, oh. Well, okay, let me do this last board. Oh, well, I guess I have also... So many keywords. All right, so let's go through this pile. So I've got this board, which is a Tappy keyboard. I built this on stream a couple weeks ago. I don't even think I have a key map, or I don't even know if this is in QMK or whatever, but this is one of Tappy's designs. Tappy makes a lot of variations on this theme of like a hard pinky like splay and 34 keys or less to try to keep it so you don't need diodes and all sorts of fun stuff. I in fact am looking at I'm getting an ADUX or whatever. I don't know what it means, but it has a bunch of finger splay on it because I want to try the finger splay before I go building my own, because eventually I want to. There's an app that you can use. It's like a web app that you use on a tablet, and you kind of put your hand on the tablet and then you go tap 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 tap. You kind of like tap, do one of these things on each finger, and it'll kind of say, okay, well, this is where your keys should go. And then you throw that into Ergogen and you make a PCB out of it and do some other stuff. So I want to try that, but I want to build one first just to play around with the concept. But this is not, I can't use this because I need 3 pinkies. Because this is like, and also that pinky is just way out of left field there. I can't do it. So what else? So I've got my Yurgo, which is another board that I have that doesn't work. And now that I've tried to fix the faunchpad and it doesn't work, I am going to just ship it off to Curtis to see if he can figure it out, because he wanted to look at it. But yeah, this is by Jenny Bernhardt. It says Jeremy, but that's wrong. Or that's outdated, I should say. But yeah, Yurgo. It's got a lot of caps. Then there's the Torn, which I don't remember the exact motivation behind it, but it's one of the non-Thomas keyboards that has puck support, has exposed components, which I love. I love exposed components. And it doesn't use a Pro Micro. It uses a, discrete controller. So one reason I haven't built it is because I don't have the rest of the components for it, like all the resistors and capacitors and all that crap. Because I just got it. It came to me as the PCBs and the plates. So I will need to acquire the rest of the components for it if I am to build it, and I haven't done that yet. But it is exciting because it's just a neat looking board. I love exposed components. That's just such a nice aesthetic. And then another meme board that I have is the Taco 12. So this one is actually, I think all I need to do to finish it is to put switches on it and solder the controller. But the reason I haven't finished this is because I wanted to make it a proper taco. So it's not just caps, they're ingredients. So the switches would be Cherry MX Browns, that's the meat. Then I would either have colored switches or, even better, dye sub printed ingredients. So I'd have cheese, and I'd have tomatoes, and I'd have onions, and I'd have guacamole, and all that stuff on there. I want to do it proper, because otherwise it's just kind of a weird keyboard. I want to make it extra meaningful. So I haven't finished it because I don't have those caps. Because the switches I can buy switches, of course, but I wanted ingredients. I wanted to make it a taco. But at the very least, just have colors. So red, white, green, and yellow. So sour cream, onions, cheese, guacamole, whatever. Making you hungry? Well, definitely don't think about pizza then. Or sushi. Or s'mores. And then, of course, the 2% milk that I put the controller on wrong. So this one in particular, this particular 2% milk is going to go in the trash because I don't feel like desoldering or clipping or whatever to get a $4 controller off of here. It's just going to go in the trash. And I have an all PCB order. I put in an all PCB order last month for 2% milk PCBs, and they gave me 6 of them. So I have the PCBs. I just need to solder it up. And then for this month's all PCB order, I have now Gerber's from GDS, I want to say, for a 2% milk with embedded controller. So it's just the PCB, but there's the controller is surface mounted to it and stuff. That's gonna be fun. So since I need to buy parts for the Torn, I want to buy parts for that. Maybe I'll buy parts for something else, like the Ferris, buy replacement parts or something. But also for my NRF micros that I have. I have a bunch of PCBs for NRF micros, which I call the cat controllers, because they have a little kitty on them. How about, I'll do this here. Hard to see. They have a little kitty on them. I call them cat controllers, and I bought a bunch of... Because someone was like, the same guy, Squash, who did the Yeehaw, the Texas macro pad, was doing a group buy of these and just had a bunch of extra PCBs. And I was like, well, I'll take all the PCBs, but I don't have the parts for them. So maybe I'll put together an order for parts for all these rando things that I have that I need parts for, and do some streams about those. Oh yeah, one more thing. So I've always had a thing for plush toys, and I thought it'd be really, really cool to have a keycap and a switch for it to sit on. And this is going to be hard to get on camera. Wait, Lorenzo, wait. No, let's see. Okay. So it's a plush switch. It's an MX switch with a little smile and a keycap. It's got a little heart on it. And it goes together. Now, it doesn't, a lot of people ask me, oh, if you push on it, does it have a switch in it? And no, it doesn't, but that would be an awesome mod. So if you feel like doing that, let me know, and I would love to figure out how to make that happen. So this is by Jelly Squish. They have an Instagram. They make like 10 of these at a time. They're really hard to come by. Well, they're not really hard to come by, but like, it wasn't like they're all custom made, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But this is one of my favorite things that I have. And then there are smaller versions of just the switches that, I don't remember who, I think it's the Keyboard Club or the Key Company. Yeah, the Key Company makes these. And they have like seasonal ones. So this is like the Christmas one because it's got a little candy cane. And this is a panda. So I got these as well. Okay. Oh, and then Jane's grandma's crocheted keyboard case. If you were around for that day, Jane from Gboards was selling a bunch of these in different colors, and the story was that it's her grandma's, or like a bunch of like she recruited some grandmas, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but they're hand crocheted keyboard cases. And I usually keep my this in here because it fits. So that's my collection for the most part. I'm probably missing a few things besides the Ahokori, which I'm really bummed about. I'm sorry, Des. I don't know where it is. It's in the house somewhere. But at some point I am going to, or I want to set up like a wall with my keyboards kind of mounted to them. Kind of a display board, like a pegboard with little holders. Now that I have a 3D printer, I can print those holders. So I just need to get the pegboard and find somewhere to put it. And in the past, it was going to be behind me when I was sitting at my desk upstairs. Because then when I'm at work and I'm in a meeting or something like that, you see the wall of keyboards behind me. But I don't have that set up upstairs anymore. It's down here, and I don't work anymore. So I don't have meetings that I'm sitting in. But it would be nice to have it on display somewhere. I think I'm still going to do it upstairs, but in the dining room, that once I convert it back to my dining room. Because it'd be nice to just have stuff in there on the walls. Yeah, I think that's about it. Can't think of anything else. So I have a Lily 58. And then there's the Sofley and the wooden case from Little Keyboards. And I have now 2 Kyrias to build, one for me and one for a customer. And I have an extra chalk corn that someone was interested in and then ended up backing out on, so I have the kit for it, but haven't built it. So anyways, that's it. That's all the stuff. Yes, go get the keyboard stuff in the mailbox. That's important. So I'll build these. This should be easy because it doesn't have LEDs. Excuse me. Sorry. Talking so much, I'm not drinking enough. That doesn't have LEDs, so that'll go pretty quickly. Sofley also doesn't have LEDs. That's interesting. So what's cool, these boards have support for both MX and chalk sockets. Presumably at the same time. So you can swap them between, which is kind of cool. This one has a wooden case, which is also cool. Anyways, I think I'm going to call it here. And we'll see about building... I feel like the Sofley should be up next. So I think I'll build the Sofley on Wednesday. Unless I make some progress with the Zephyr stuff. So an update on the Zephyr stuff. I'm trying to get anything, any firmware build, any Zephyr build going that gives me the ability to write stuff out to the USB console so I can see it. Because I don't know any other way to know to report back to myself, to give myself feedback that yes, I'm reading this information correctly from the board. So I'm struggling with that, and I don't want to do that on stream because a lot of it is flailing around in docs, flailing around in things, asking for help, either not getting it or having to wait for a long time or whatever, and it's just not good stream content. So once I have that though, then I should be able to make some rapid progress on actually getting the circ controller working. So I'm probably gonna reach out to Pete and be like, "Hey Pete, you wanna help me do some Zephyr stuff? Maybe, I don't know. And we'll see." But not going to do that on stream for now. So that's one of the reasons I was kind of struggling to come up with stuff on stream, because I was like, do I really want to build one of these? And it sounds like there's some demand for it, so I'm going to. But I also didn't think I was going to make very much progress on the... I thought the stuff today with the... What did I even start today as? Today started as a... I was working on my Ferris. I knew that wasn't going to go well. I just knew. So I was like, do I really want to try to do a whole stream about that? And it's fine. But I also have to remember I have a 3D printer that I haven't been working with very much. So I can do some stuff with that. I have my die sub printer that I can do some stuff with. So I will try to plan out a couple of streams for those sorts of things, but meanwhile, kind of fill in gaps with keyboard builds. So, yeah. That being said, I think I'm going to call it for today. Thank you all for sticking around and for going with me on this trip down memory lane with all my keyboards. I have a lot more keyboards than I thought. And I really need to find a display system or something, or even storage, because they're just in a box right now. And like, I noticed a small scratch on one of my, on the Mustachio guy cap, and I'm like, that's because it's just in a box with a bunch of other stuff. So, like, I need to do something to protect them. And right now they're all in kind of like a Safeway bag. So, anyways, I'm gonna call it today, and Wednesday we'll do the Sofley on Wednesday. I'll say that right now. We'll do the Sofley build, or at least get it started. But I think I'll be able to finish it in 3 hours. Because like I said, it doesn't have LEDs, so just sockets and diodes and controller. Should be pretty quick. So yeah, I may even pre-do the diodes just to save some time. I don't know, but thanks for sticking around. Hope to see you again soon, and I'll be back on Wednesday with more streams. Have a great day.